advocate for how difficult it is to use gender-neutral pronouns. Nobody said that the gender binary was f***ing easy. These are not my preferred pronouns. These are my pronouns. You will use them, or you will not refer to me. At all. If you misgender me by mistake, fix it and move on. I don't need your elaborate apology. I don't care how many times you say sorry. Just don't do it again. Moreover, if someone else misgenders me, it is never your job to tell them that it's okay. 'Cause it isn't. I get it. The discussion of the gender spectrum confuses you, and that's fine. But if you don't know anything about it, don't f***ing speak on it.
Okay, so everyone is aware by now of the mental illness that is the pronouns. And there have been discussions on the internet, and a lot of people enjoyed mocking it and making fun of it. But very few people actually tried understanding why pronouns exist in the first place. You see, the entire ideology, the entire political identity thing which came up from the academia is actually an extremely well thought out and very intelligent weapon of control. The people in universities that came up with pronouns, they're not stupid. They actually knew what they were doing. And so think about what the pronouns actually accomplish. If you have an ideology that tries to dominate a nation culturally, and you want to take control of every single aspect of society, whether it's the mainstream media, whether it's video games, whether it's what people see when they watch a football match, even commercials, then you actually do need the pronoun system. So how exactly does the pronoun system work? Well, imagine you're working at Bud Light and you're making beer, right? Like your company is not dedicated to any sort of political activism. In fact, for decades as your company operated, not a single person even thought about making beer for right-wingers or making beer for left-wingers. Like you're just there to make beer. And so you now have an entirely new generation of hires. People that spend time on the internet, on Tumblr, people that spend time on the academia, and they're coming in the company to work. They're not coming in the company to work as making beer. They're coming into the company to work as lawyers, to work as a part of the marketing team, to work as middle management. Now, let's say that out of those people that came in, a couple of them are leftists. Like a couple of them are indoctrinated with this new Marxist train of thought. How do they recognize each other? How do they communicate with each other? Well, when they start declaring pronouns, this is a very cheap way for leftists to signal cult alignment. They can now claim victimhood and they're part of the oppressed group alignment, and they also get to test the room for compliance. So these people, they join a company and then they're quiet about it. And they like in casual conversations, they drop random purity tests. First of all, it's like, my pronouns are they, them. And they look around to see how people react to that. And then they would say something like, do you believe that a trans woman is a woman? They're not asking you like, do you think it's okay for people to identify? They're not asking you like what you see reality as. They're flat out asking you like, what is your belief, right? Like, do you believe in the cult? And so when people answer anything else except the accepted answers, they will declare that person to be a hostile. Now, when they see someone else as hostile, they don't immediately spurg out, right? Like in the beginning, when there are few of them in a company, they just make lists. Those of you that used the internet during the Jack Dorsey era, remember the lists of people that were blacklisted from the comic book industry, from various other organizations, even from public discourse, because at the time, the social justice activists didn't have the muscle. And so they were just making lists, like these are the people that are problematic. And once one of them gets into power, right, like once one of them manages to get into the higher management of a company, or when one of them manages to get as a moderator on a forum, they immediately promote the other people that accurately said their pronouns, that were believing that trans women are women, like those people are now becoming allies. And they get promoted and they get a seat at the table. And then they start suppressing everyone else based on how problematic they were. Like, this person misgendered me on purpose. They suppress them, right? And so eventually they even managed to pass certain legislations, like anti-discriminatory legislations. So, for example, hiding under the LGBT umbrella, right? Like, the United Nations already considers people that are LGBT to be a protected class. So there were already laws to protect these individuals. But as you can notice, a lot of them don't even happen to be gay, right? Like, they just call themselves allies, or they just call themselves non-binary, like they invent new sexualities that the United Nations didn't even conceive at the time of writing the laws. And then they file lawsuits, right? And you will notice that there was a time when a lot of the leadership position at many companies would suddenly get hit with lawsuits for discrimination, like maybe a person working at the company has heard an N-word, or maybe a person that works at the company felt uncomfortable. And usually the company would settle, even if the lawsuit didn't have merit, and they would get rid of the person in the position of power. And that person would be replaced by a pronoun person, right? And so now you have like someone from the cult that's in the leadership of the company, and the purge gets to continue and it gets amplified. And so this is how they managed to co-opt institutions. And this is why the pronouns were so important, right? Because it's something that most people don't realize what they actually mean until it's too late. Like, most people just make fun of the concept. And the beauty of it is that the person itself using the pronouns may not even be aware of this tactic. Like, they have simply been trained at the university level to think like this subconsciously. Like, when they join a room, immediately the people that validate them with the pronouns are considered allies, and the people that find the pronouns cringe are considered problematic. And so with this mindset, again, when you have people that think this way and they congregate, automatically they create conflict where there wasn't any. And they manage to climb any group social ladder because they immediately band together and work together, right? Like, if you think about it, at the workplace, usually people band based on, you know, like maybe you go to a workplace and you listen to the same music that someone else does, and all of a sudden you click with that person. Or maybe you go to a workplace and another guy is from your neighborhood and you click with them, or they share some trouble that you also are sharing, so you find a bond. These people don't work like that. You know, like, if you have like 10 people that are educated in the academia, the pronouns alone gets them to click. And they view that anyone else is subhuman, that doesn't share their view on pronouns and stuff. And so it's kind of like a moral crusade in order to purge anyone that isn't an ally. And of course, you know, like, the narrative is also a really good story. Like, they genuinely view themselves as being better human beings. And so this is how the pronouns managed to be useful in subverting a lot of institutions. And take into account that, you know, a lot of people feel that if Donald Trump has won, then this is over. I don't know if it's over. Like, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a comeback, especially since there are other nations on Earth right now that have very strong hold-ups when it comes to this new political ideology. And it's quite possible that if the Democrats win again, like, you're going to see these people manifesting again and claiming back power from where they lost it and try to reassess themselves. And they're probably going to be a lot more vicious in that approach than they have been up until now. Because up until now, they viewed themselves as invincible, and now they've noticed that their ideology can be hurt. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.